Today on Detroit Muscle, Tommy and Marc start work on a new project car. How does 750 horsepower and a killer exhaust sound?
Hey y'all, welcome to Detroit Muscle. If you've been following along with us, you know that we've been making some pretty decent headway on our 80s era rides. An old Project Sidewinder, that 600 plus horse Cobra, is dangerously close to being all finished up and ready to hit the track and the street. So with that said, it's time for a new project.
So it's out with the old Mustang and in with the new one. Well, it's not brand new. It's a 2016 Mustang GT. It's got that 5-liter Coyote under the hood, 6-speed manual gearbox. This thing is going to be plenty quick and fun to drive, even in stock form. Not only that, it's a lot more refined than that 81 Cobra. And we've teamed up with EBC Brakes on this build, and we're going to be installing some better stopping power, of course, but more power under the hood as well. We're going to make it handle better and look better. But before we get into all that, I want to introduce you to James with EBC Brakes. You may recognize him because he was on the show last year when we made a trip over the pond to go see their manufacturing processes. James, thanks for making the long trip.
Good to see you again, Mark.
You too. Now let's talk about why we've teamed up for a build like this.
Okay, well, as you know, Mark, for many years now we've been making brake pads and rotors for a whole suite of American cars. And just recently we've introduced big brake kits. We're making our own calipers, stainless steel brake lines, and many upgrades. So we want to showcase them on this particular car here.
Yeah, that's big news. Now, this is actually going to be the first kit on an American car then.
Absolutely, Mark.
That's exciting. Let's talk specifically about which parts we're going to be installing.
Okay, Mark, well, let's start with the rear. Here we have the rear calipers. And what we've done for you, they're the standard Ford calipers, but we've color-coded them to match the front calipers which we're going to use for this build. We've also customized them slightly by putting an EBC plaque on there.
Very cool.
For the pads on this one, we're going to use our yellow stuff pads, which are available all across the US. We've sold millions of sets of these, and they're used primarily for spirited street style driving.
Oh, we definitely like doing that.
Absolutely. And on the rear rotors, they're fairly similar to what we sell in the US right now, but we've used our swept groove pattern to match the front.
Okay, so let's talk about the front brakes, James.
Okay, well, we're still developing for this particular Mustang, Mark. We've got one in our Centre of Excellence in the UK right now, but of course the steering wheel's on the other side. So what we're doing is 6-piston brake calipers for the front, stainless steel braided brake lines, and fully floating brake rotors.
Okay, so this isn't the stuff that's going on the car. What are these?
No, well, I brought these along today, Mark. These are our Apollo 4-piston calipers, but they share many of the same features and benefits as the 6-piston ones which we're developing right now. So, for example, you have aluminum castellated pistons.
What does that mean?
Well, the castellation is like the top of a castle, and that reduces heat transfer into the fluid.
Okay.
We also have high-temperature rubber seals, and we have staggered piston sizes to stop uneven pad wear. Also, we have stainless steel hardware to stop any rust and corrosion, and a single pin here for removal and replacement of the brake pads, which makes it very quick and easy, especially when you're at a racetrack at the side and you can change the pads really quickly.
Excellent. And I see these are yellow, but you have other colors as well, right?
We do. We have yellow, blue, black, and red.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the pads.
So I brought you these pads today, Mark. These actually fit the Apollo 4-piston caliper, but they're going to be very similar in construction to the 6-piston caliper brake pads. They're just going to be slightly larger. So what you have here, you have the stainless steel backing plate. We've done these laser etches especially for you guys in Detroit Muscle. And this particular friction material here is our new RP1 grade, which is a full race brake pad, not to be used on the street at all. Purely for the racetrack. I think for this build we're going to supply you with our yellow stuff brake pads, but we're also going to send you a set of these because I'm sure you're going to track the car at some time in the future.
I hope so. Well, that takes care of this. This is awesome, but come over here. Tommy's got something we want to show you.
Great. So Tommy, what have you got for us today then?
We have a few renderings here of what your car could look like, and you may love them or you may hate them, but either way it gives us something to kind of go on, and I hope you like them. I know we do.
Wow, look at that. That looks amazing.
Anything you don't like about it?
I love all of it. Look at those wheels, they're stunning.
So what do you notice about it?
Loving the US and the UK flag together, that's fantastic. EBC brakes all over the roof. Look at the roof, that looks amazing. And the wheels just blend in perfectly.
Now, I know it's a lot to take in, but we got a few more for you. Now, the white helps to brighten the car up a little bit, but it could be too much. It all depends on the person.
I think I prefer the stealth look, Tommy. I think the one before is just a little bit stealthier.
All right, we'll keep going. Yeah, this one goes to the 2-stripe on the hood and on the nose of it. You lose everything on the roof. And then with the flags, there's a left and a right
I like
flag.
that. Which one's your favorite, Tommy?
Which flag? To be honest with you, I'm a fan of a few of them because they all kind of play off of each other. And a lot of them, too, depends on a person's personality. Some people are all about the stealth, and then other people are all about in your face.
And the more you look at this one, the more I'm liking this one actually. At first glance, it didn't grow on me, but now it's looking good. It's not looking cheap. It's looking really sort of subtle and expensive and stealthy. I like it.
I believe we got one more.
I think that's the one, Tommy. That's the one. It's a stealthy look. It's the right colour wheels. EBC brakes in the centre of the windshield. The 2 flags blend in nicely. I think it looks perfect.
You'd go with that one just the way it is.
Absolutely. I love the Detroit muscle in sort of silvery grey on the. I was going to say the bonnet, but you say the.
We'll call it a
hood.
Wow, you even did my accent. That's a pretty good job. So you're digging on this one the most?
This is it, Tommy. This is the one we like.
Now, it's going to be quite a bit of work, but it's going to look killer sitting in your driveway.
No, it doesn't need to be on my driveway. It needs to be on one of your viewers' driveways. Let's give it away.
Really?
100%.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully I can win it. Come on, let's get you out of here. We got to get busy.
See you, man. Killer ride.
Don't go anywhere. We start adding some serious ponies to our EBC Mustang giveaway project.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the shop. We've been all over our Mustang like a duck on a June bug, making some preparations for some high horsepower.
Yeah, and we're not wasting any time doing it either. While you were gone, we got the intake manifold off, we got the front fascia out of the way, and we drained the coolant. So you might be able to guess what we're getting ready to install.
That would be a supercharger. I want to introduce you guys to Nick from Edelbrock. Man, you brought us a table full of goodies. What we got?
Thanks, Tommy. What we have here is our all-new Stage 2 supercharger system for the 2015 through 2017 model year Mustang GT. Now this system features our latest 2.65 liter TVS supercharger, which has our dual pass 3-core intercooler technology. Now this supercharger looks a little bit different than some others you may be used to. The supercharger rotors are hung down low in the valley, giving us plenty of room up top for a big old intercooler that fits under the factory hood. Now the supercharger rotors expel upwards, making the first pass through the intercooler, fills the space underneath the lid, and then is forced back down through the intercooler for the second pass, through the runners, into the cylinder head, so you get a nice, cool, dense air charge, which means what? More horsepower.
That's right. The inlet on this Jewel looks different than the ones in the past.
That's right, Tommy. This system features our all-new modular supercharger inlet. Now, the modular supercharger inlet uses a series of adapters so you can use different sized throttle bodies. This Stage 2 system uses that billet aluminum 103mm throttle body, which connects to our Stage 2 air intake system, that has a 113mm mass airflow housing for increased airflow.
Sounds like this kit's gonna make some pretty serious power, and having an upgraded fuel system, that's a pretty good indication.
Yeah, right here is our drop-in ready fuel pump cartridge, which has a 400 liter per hour fuel pump in it, and we upgrade the injectors with these 78 pound per hour fuel injectors.
So what kind of power does this thing make?
Good question. It's gonna take that Mustang from 435 horsepower up to 750.
Wow, and this thing's still 50 state legal?
Absolutely. This Stage 2 system is 50 state legal and backed by Edelbrock's 3-year, 36,000 mile PowerTrain warranty.
Now, I know this kit's pretty easy to install. What's first?
We're going to install this tensioner bracket right here, and I'll show you how it works. Well, the first thing we have to do is drill and tap this hole right here, and we take away all the guesswork and supply the drill bit and the tap for you in the kit.
These right here?
You gonna let some chips fly?
Yeah. We'll just drill it out to the desired depth, cut the threads with the tap, and blow off the shavings.
Then we can get the bracket installed, use some Permatex blue Threadlocker on the bolts, and get them tight. After that, the idler pulleys go on and they can be cinched down. Next, we have to remove these tabs on the valve covers to make room for the supercharger.
We'll get the Supercharger prepped by installing the factory O-ring gaskets and get the new fuel rails assembled. We need to get the new injectors lubed up and installed in the rails as well.
You about ready, boss?
Yes,
Is it heavy?
a little bit.
You all right?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Sir.
That's it.
Stay with us as we finish our supercharger install.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the shop. We're making some pretty good progress. We got our supercharger installed, fuel system all buttoned up. The next thing we're going to be doing is getting busy up here, installing that heat exchanger.
So Nick, being this is an air-to-water intercooler system, I know we need this heat exchanger here, right?
Right, Mark. Yeah, the heart of the system is that oversized heat exchanger and high-capacity water pump. We provide all the brackets, hoses, plug-and-play wiring for a nice, easy install.
Yeah, see, you've already got the brackets installed here. I guess we can just go ahead and get this on the car.
Let's get it done.
All right. The heat exchanger slides up between the impact brakes and the AC condenser and installs with the factory hardware. Then the support braces go in and everything gets tightened down.
The shroud needs to be trimmed to make room for the intercooler plumbing. Then the intercooler pump goes in, tightened down, the hoses can be installed, and the clamps put in place.
The reservoir goes in from the top, and we can attach the rest of the hoses and clamps. All right, go ahead. Awesome. The evap solenoid gets installed on the strut tower, and the hose is connected. All right, you ready for the harness now?
Yep.
This wiring harness is nice and simple. It's labeled and just clips into the factory locations.
That big old throttle body goes in next and gets connected to the harness. One final thing that we need to do is install our airbox up here under the hood, and then we can move on to recalibrating that computer and we can fire this thing up. This airbox installs in the factory location. Then the elbow gets attached to it and clamped down. The mass airflow sensor gets plugged in and tucked away nicely. All that's left now are the air filter and lid. And just like that, this thing's ready to go.
Now that everything's all hooked up, all that's left to do is load the Edelbrock supplied calibration and fire it up.
Hey man, I want to say thanks for all your hard work. I can't wait to get this thing out on the road and stretch its legs.
Yeah, but we can't do that just yet because we've got some more things we need to do to this car, but we want to thank you for coming and helping out.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Sure thing, sure thing.
Well, our 81 Ford Mustang Cobra project Sidewinder is getting really close to being completely finished. Now, I know we've been saying that for a while, but the longer it sits here, the more things we find to do to the car. Like recently, Tommy painted this Cobra on the hood. It looks really cool. I found something else that I wanted to do that I really like on these four-eyed Fox body Mustangs, and that is the headlight covers. Now, you could get the kit and install them like that, or you can make them yourself like I did on this side here, and I riveted it on. I'm gonna show you how to do that here on this other side. What I'm going to use is this piece of Lexan right here. This is actually polycarbonate. Lexan is actually a brand. This is 12 inches by 24 inches. This is what they use to make windshields for race cars and things like that. It's really great for automotive applications because it won't shatter. This stuff's really durable. It's ideal for this type of thing. Now, what I need to do is get it here in place and figure out where I need to trim it and then we can just rivet it down. It's pretty simple, but in order to do that, I need to make a template. I'm just going to use some masking paper and a big piece of chalk to shade the outline of the headlight bucket. All right, well, now that I've got the template made, I just need to get it off, get it cut out, transfer it onto the Lexan. All right, yeah, it's a little bigger than I need it to be, but that's okay because I want to be able to trim a little bit. Always good to have a little extra rather than it being too small. Just need to mark it here, cut it out. Just gonna mark it with a permanent marker, and then we'll head to the bandsaw. Once we get the cuts made, we'll clean them up a bit with the belt sander. I'm gonna open up the 4 existing holes and use those to get the installation started. We'll mark the Lexan, drill them out, and get it in place with our Clecos. Then we can lay out our edges with some masking tape and mark the lines to indicate where the rest of our holes need to be drilled. We'll space them out evenly, get it back on the car, and drill them all out. It comes off, the back gets peeled off, and it can go on permanently with the rivets. And just like that, you can have your own homemade headlight lenses.
Stick around. With all that power, now we need an exhaust system to match.
Hey folks, welcome back. Well, we're plugging away on our 2016 Mustang GT that we're building with EBC Brakes. We just finished up that supercharger install under the hood.
And it's doing a really good job of forcing the air in, so now we need to address where it comes out, that exhaust.
So in order to accomplish that, we went to Borla. They spend a lot of time engineering their exhaust systems to get rid of the bad exhaust tones, like drone, and enhance the good ones. They've got several different levels. They've got touring, which is pretty mild and quiet. Then more aggressive is the S-type. And then even beyond that is the attack, and that's super loud and aggressive. We decided to go with that middle of the road S-type, and we did that with this catback kit. It's all stainless steel construction, 2.5 inches in diameter. Comes with the hardware to get it installed. This mid pipe has an X built in here, and it'll attach to the factory stuff right here. And of course the mufflers, that's where all the magic happens right there. These come with polished 4-inch tips, so it's going to look really nice on the car. But in order to get this stuff on the car, as you know, we got to get the old stuff out of the way first. The car has to go up in the air so we can get the factory exhaust unbolted. We'll support the system with a few pole jacks and start taking it out. We can unbolt the hangers out back. And then it can just slide out. The new mid pipe goes in first and attaches using the factory band clamps. We'll get it supported with a pole jack and move on to the lead pipes. Once they both get installed, we can get the mufflers hung. All of this stuff just bolts into the factory location, nice and easy. Now we can start getting it adjusted and getting the clamps tightened. Let's get it back on the ground to hear it growl. Here's what it sounded like stock. And here it is now. When Ford brought the 5.0 back to the Mustang in 2011, they nailed it with an engine called Coyote. Now, a lot of those cars are starting to get high mileage. Instead of buying a new engine from the dealership, you can go to PowerTrain products for one of its remanufactured Coyote engines. They feature 100% re-sleeve block, updated timing components, a high-volume oil pump, and chrome moly rings. They even come with all the gaskets to get the engine installed. Now this one's for an F-150, but they offer a separate part number for a Mustang. And all of them are offered with a 3, 5, or 7-year warranty. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. So until next time, go to PowerNationTV.com.